So imagine like a web crawler that doesn't just index your site to figure out where to rank it.
Hmm.
Instead, it actually notices a drop in your traffic, autonomously logs into your content management system, restructures your internal linking, rewrites your homepage copy to satisfy some, shifting algorithm, and then just hits publish.
Right. And all of this at like 2 in the morning while you are fast asleep.
Exactly. It's wild. Welcome to this deep dive, where we're examining the state of search and the whole digital landscape exactly as it stands on this very specific date, July 19, 2026. Because honestly, this is a monumental shift for you, the listener.
It really is. I mean, we are looking at an internet architecture that's just no longer built around human attention or, human navigation. The infrastructure is rapidly reorienting to serve the machine.
Yeah, you aren't just optimizing your digital presence for human readers or those basic search crawlers anymore. You are optimizing for autonomous AI agents. So our mission for this deep dive is to unpack the July 19th, 2026 SEO Daily Technology Report to figure out what this all means for the content you build, the platforms you rely on, and, well, the strategies you deploy.
Right. And to understand how to optimize for the machine, we really have to look at what the machine itself is actually doing right now in July 2026. The terrain we are covering from the report is massive. We've got these July updates to Google's AI overviews, the hardening of EAT into actual quantifiable metrics, new AI visibility tools for both WordPress and enterprise level, and of course, the exploding trend of Agentic SEO.
Okay, let's unpack this because the expansions to Google's AI overviews this month, they are just massive. We're seeing this live news carousel pulling real-time headlines from authoritative publishers, right? Plus AI-generated images rendering directly in the results and like totally redesigned citation displays.
Yeah, and the integration of AI mode is the technical anchor for all of this. Google has effectively turned the search interface into an execution environment.
Wait, what do you mean by execution environment?
So, I mean, you can send a prompt to generate a graphic, right? And Google just passes that task directly to a connected app like Canva, processes the request, and returns the finished asset to you.
Without you ever leaving the search page.
Exactly, without the user ever breaking the search conversation. The search engine is no longer a transit hub directing you to external websites. It is the final destination.
Yeah, the search engine isn't a map anymore. It feels like it's acting as a closed-loop mega mall. You walk in the front doors to ask a question, and suddenly the mall provides the news, generates the images, formats your documents, so you never actually have to leave the building to visit the independent stores.
That's a great analogy. And what's fascinating here is that this closed-loop environment creates an immediate strategic dilemma for anyone publishing content as of July 2026. Because alongside these generative features, Google just rolled out very specific opt-out controls for publishers in Search Console.
Right, so they can explicitly block their content from being summarized in those AI overviews.
Exactly.
So you actually have a mechanism to protect your intellectual property now.
Yeah.
Like you can stop the AI from scraping your proprietary research or your recipes and prevent that scenario where the user gets the answer directly in the search results and, never actually visits your site.
You can, and this is a massive, but the catch is that Google simultaneously redesigned their citation displays to make source attribution highly visible.
Ah, right.
Yeah, being cited in an AI overview now commands this prime real estate that can drive immense click-through volume. So brands are cornered into a really difficult calculation here.
You mean like weighing the value of your IP against visibility?
Precisely. You can opt out to protect your content, sure, but then you risk total invisibility within this new closed-loop ecosystem. Or you opt in, you allow your data to train and feed the machine, and you just have to hope the redesigned citations funnel enough human traffic back to you to sustain your business model.
Wow, it's the ultimate walled garden trap.
It really is.
And this consolidation, it's happening on the back end too, because we saw Google Search Console's introduction of platform properties this month, which is just a perfect example of this.
Oh, absolutely.
You aren't just tracking web performance anymore. You can track social media performance and video content across Google Search and discover in a single unified dashboard. Impressions, clicks, cross-platform engagement. It basically bridges the gap between the properties you own and the presence you earn on external networks.
Which, by the way, aligns perfectly with what Google's John Mueller confirmed regarding site architecture.
Oh, about the AI-only sites.
Yeah, exactly. He clarified that you do not need to build a separate, isolated AI-only version of your website. I mean, the systems want the same high-quality, comprehensively structured data that a human requires. It just needs to be formatted efficiently for automated crawlers. A unified structure serves both the human users and the AI agents.
Okay, but that brings us to a major friction point, because if the search engine is this massive closed-loop mall, how do you actually prove to the AI that your brand deserves a storefront inside it?
Yeah.
I mean, you have to provide measurable trust, right?
Yes, the concept of trust has shifted from a philosophical guideline to a hard computational metric.
Right.
We are seeing tools like EEATClean completely change the landscape in 2026. Historically, EET experience, expertise, authoritativeness, and trustworthiness, it was highly subjective. Google advised creators to demonstrate it, but there was no definitive dashboard for it.
It was just a soft guideline.
Exactly. But EEATClean turns those soft concepts into a hard quantifiable score. It's trackable now.
But how? How does software actually quantify something as abstract as expertise? That sounds impossible.
Well, it uses natural language processing to evaluate author credentials against established knowledge graphs.
Okay.
It cross-references your factual claims with known authoritative databases. It analyzes the historical velocity of your updates to measure content freshness, and it even scores the semantic relevance of your outbound citations.
Oh, wow. So it's looking at exactly who you link out to.
Yes, especially if you are operating a site that touches on finance, health, or legal advice, those YMYI, your money or your like sites. The AI systems are aggressively filtering your content based on these exact vectors to prevent their models from hallucinating or distributing harmful advice.
Hold on, though. I had to push back and challenge the technical reality of this for a second, because the sources point out that back in March 2026, Google pushed an update that gutted traditional rich snippets.
Right, the March core update.
Yeah, they removed the eye-catching stars, the FAQs, all the visual rewards you used to get in the search results for having perfectly structured data. So if Google removed the visual incentive, why are we suddenly obsessing over schema markup and entity SEO again in July 2026?
Well, the visual reward was removed, yes, but the foundational requirement was actually amplified. Google explicitly confirmed that standard schema.org markup, particularly JSON LD, is the absolute bedrock for appearing in AI overviews.
Oh, interesting.
The role of schema evolved. It went from powering those visual search enhancements to serving as the foundational vocabulary that large language models actually use to parse the web.
I get it. It acts like a digital barcode.
Yes, exactly.
Like you can have the most authoritative, well-researched content on the internet, but if the AI clerk scanning your site can't read the schema markup, it has no idea what the information is, how the entities relate to each other, or if the data is even reliable. If it can't scan your barcode, it is not putting you on the shelf.
That is a perfect way to put it. And that barcode relies heavily on entity SEO. Structuring content around well-defined entities, specific people, places, concepts, organizations, that is how you ground an AI model.
Because language models hallucinate.
Right. Constantly. Large language models operate on probabilistic text generation, which means they are inherently prone to hallucinating facts. So to mitigate that risk, they lock onto high-trust sources with pristine entity associations.
They need proof.
Right. The AI needs definitive, machine-readable proof that a specific author is associated with a specific credential and that their business is located in a specific jurisdiction. Providing that clear mathematical association is what gives the AI the confidence to cite you as a factual source.
Okay, so we understand the machine requires strict computational trust signals and these perfect digital barcodes. The question is, how are businesses actually implementing this on the ground? Because we're looking at this fascinating dual-track evolution right now, serving two entirely different ends of the market.
Yeah, let's examine the foundational level first. So exactly this month, July 2026, Ali AI launched a dedicated WordPress plugin that just automates AI search optimization.
Which is huge for the 43% of the web running on WordPress.
Massive. Advanced SEO historically required significant development resources, but this tool dynamically generates lms.txt files for millions of smaller sites, democratizing the whole process.
Let's break down that lms.txt file for a second, because it's distinct from a traditional robots.txt file, right? A robots file just tells a crawler what it is and isn't allowed to look at.
Right, it's a permission slip.
Yeah, but an lms.txt file actually strips out the CSS, the JavaScript, all the visual noise, and delivers the core semantic information in a clean markdown format, specifically optimized for the context windows of crawlers from, ChatGPT, Perplexity, and Claude.
It acts as a customized feed for language models. And the Ally AI plugin also provides a dashboard indicating which specific AI platforms are crawling the site. It really democratizes the ability to communicate with these engines.
So mom-and-pop bloggers are getting these simple plug-and-play tools to format their data perfectly for AI without needing a massive budget.
Exactly.
But then you look at the enterprise track.
Yeah.
On July 16th, 2026, Amplified Digital launched Amplified AI Visibility.
Yes.
And this is a heavy-duty platform built to track brand mentions across different generative engines, benchmark against competitors, and calculate a brand's AI citation share.
And they are entering a fiercely competitive market alongside platforms like Trackings.ai, Athena HQ, and Canva out of Denmark, which, by the way, already boasts over 200 active enterprise users.
Yeah, 200 enterprise users already. So what does this all mean? I mean, Fortune 500 companies are literally building entirely new command centers just to monitor whether or not ChatGPT accurately understands who they are.
It reflects a rapidly maturing industry. AI search optimization is just no longer a fun, peripheral experiment for the marketing department. It now demands its own dedicated budget, distinct key performance indicators, and specialized enterprise-grade measurement tools. Managing brand visibility in an AI-first environment requires tracking conversational sentiment and entity recognition across multiple distinct language models. Legacy web search dashboards simply cannot do that.
Okay, so tracking visibility is crucial. Giving an SEO professional a dashboard to manually correct an entity association or improve an EEATClean score, that's the current baseline. But here's where it gets really interesting. What happens when the tools become smart enough to do the optimizing for you?
Welcome to the agentic revolution. This is the defining trend of mid-2026. We are transitioning from an era of AI assistants to an era of autonomous AI agents.
What's the practical difference there?
Well, an assistant is reactive. It functions like a sophisticated calculator. You prompt it to analyze a data set, it provides an output, and then a human operator must actually go and execute the strategy.
Right.
Agents, on the other hand, like Lyzr and Nomos AI, operate with agency. They have the capacity to continuously monitor Google's Search Console, identify a degradation in keyword rankings, restructure the underlying content, and autonomously push those updates live to a content management system.
Which is mind-blowing. But this level of autonomy requires a massive shift in infrastructure, right? I mean, the legacy SEO platforms have to fundamentally change how they expose their data to let agents do this.
They do. And we saw SEMrush and Ahrefs spend the last year launching MCP servers to support this exact transition.
Okay, the Model Context Protocol, or MCP. Explain that technical bridge for us.
Sure. So historically, connecting two pieces of software required a rigid API integration. A developer had to structure precise, hard-coded requests.
Which takes time and money.
Exactly. But an MCP server allows an autonomous AI agent to query massive proprietary databases using natural language, providing real-time context directly into the agent's working memory.
So an AI agent optimizing a local business doesn't need a developer to write an API script. The agent can simply query SEMrush via the MCP server, ask for the top-ranking local entities in a specific zip code using regular words, and SEMrush interprets the natural language, pulls the data, and hands it back to the agent to execute the update.
That's exactly how it works, and we are seeing this built directly into the pricing models now. SEMrush rolled out their Pro tier. It's at $119.95 a month, and it includes the SEMrush One bundle and the AI Visibility Toolkit. They have Copilot features actively interpreting ranking fluctuations.
And Ahrefs is doing something similar.
Yeah, Ahrefs is at $99 a month for their Elite tier, and they launched an AI-assisted Site Explorer that autonomously identifies link velocity anomalies. It detects toxic link patterns before they escalate into a search penalty. They are literally opening their data vaults directly to the machines.
And we're even seeing the emergence of platforms built entirely around this autonomous architecture from the ground up, like AirTop.
Yes, AirTop is a pioneer here.
They move teams away from reactive dashboard management, like, checking reports on a Monday, to discover a drop that happened on Saturday into proactive agentic monitoring. Instead of weekly checks, AirTop deploys always-on agents. If an AI engine alters its citation patterns, or a competitor shifts their entity structure on a Tuesday afternoon, the agent flags the anomaly and initiates a response in real time.
It's incredible speed.
It is, but here is where I have to push the brakes. Because handing over the keys to your content management system to an autonomous agent sounds absolutely terrifying.
It raises an important question for sure.
Right. What happens when an agent misinterprets a data anomaly and decides to rewrite your flagship product page at 2 in the morning, and it strips out critical compliance language? Where is the brand safety when the machine is making unilateral publishing decisions?
Well, that anxiety is precisely why the deployment of these agents requires strict architectural safeguards. The human-in-the-loop framework is essential here. No enterprise is granting an AI agent unrestricted, publish-ready access to a production environment.
Okay, so humans are still checking the work.
Yes. The agent possesses the capability for complete autonomy, but the protocol requires human validation before execution. The role of the SEO professional is evolving from a doer of tasks to a manager and editor of AI agents. The MCP servers are the technical bridge making this secure and scalable.
So the job of the SEO professional isn't disappearing, it is shape-shifting.
Exactly. Gartner recently put out a warning projecting that 70% of SEO tasks could be automated by 2028.
70%? That's massive.
The industry is already feeling that compression, but the role doesn't vanish, it elevates. You transition from manually writing meta descriptions and pulling weekly ranking reports to managing a fleet of AI agents. You establish the guardrails, you define the brand voice and the compliance parameters. The agent conducts the data analysis, cross-references the MCP servers, drafts the technical updates, and then the human steps in to review, refine, and approve the final execution.
You serve as the ultimate layer of EET. You essentially become the editor-in-chief of a robotic newsroom that is continually optimizing your digital footprint.
It's a completely new paradigm.
It really is. Looking at the landscape as of July 19th, 2026, the complexity is staggering. To recap this incredible snapshot of the web, we've got Google engineering this closed-loop ecosystem with live integrations and redesigned AI overviews. Surviving in that ecosystem requires proving your worth through computational trust metrics and flawless digital barcodes.
Right, and we're seeing the tools to manage this bifurcate. WordPress plugins are democratizing entity structuring for independent publishers, while enterprise platforms track AI citation share across global markets.
And the underlying engine driving all of this is the shift to Agentic SEO autonomous systems, querying MCP servers to conduct the deep optimization work that previously required entire teams of human analysts. It fundamentally changes what it means to participate in the digital economy.
It does, and honestly, it leaves us with a profound structural question about the future of the internet itself.
Oh, what do you mean?
Well, if Gartner is right and 70% of SEO tasks are automated by 2028, if we have AI agents researching topics, writing the content, and formatting the schema specifically so that other AI agents can crawl it, parse it, and summarize it for an AI overview, where does the human element of discovery actually fit in?
Wow. Machines optimizing for machines.
Exactly. If the entire production and discovery loop becomes automated, do we eventually see a fork in the architecture of the web? Does a shadow web emerge?
The shadow web.
Yeah, a layer of the internet consisting entirely of raw vector embeddings, JSON-level data objects, and mathematical relationships that humans literally cannot render or read. Are we moving toward a purely machine-to-machine internet where human user experience, visual design, and traditional interfaces are completely abandoned in favor of pure, frictionless data exchange?
Which implies human beings just become passive consumers, sitting at the very end of an entirely automated, invisible supply chain, only ever interacting with the synthesized output. It completely upends the original promise of the web as a space for human connection and discovery.
It's definitely something to ponder.
It is a brilliant, slightly terrifying concept to sit with. Keep exploring how these agents are reshaping your industry. Adapt your strategies to the closed-loop realities of July 2026, and above all, make sure your digital barcode is flawless. Keep asking questions. We will catch you on the next deep dive.